I'm here to basically just share about my recovery, where I've where I've come from, and what I'm doing now. When I was 16, my my brother passed away from leukemia, and then my about 6 months later, my mother passed away of ovarian cancer. I mean, prior to that, I was a troubled teen. I was like hanging out with the wrong people, wanted to fit in with the gangs. Never got into a gang, but I always wanted to fit in with the gangs. But when my mom and brother died, is when I actually noticed myself starting to do hard drugs and doing hard drugs. And when my mother passed away, I was in a group home in San Diego, and I didn't go back. They let me out to see my mom get, her for her death, and I didn't go back to the group home. And my sisters really couldn't take care of me because I was out of control, and so I had to leave, and I went to Utah with my cousin, and nobody really knew that I was doing drugs. So I thought, like, I know my sisters loved me, and I knew my sisters were there for me, but in my mind and my thoughts was that I didn't have no one, because my mom passed away, and I always felt like she left us, that she gave up on us because my brother passed away and she couldn't take that. She said no mother's just supposed to bury their kid. And it felt like to me that she just gave up and wouldn't fight no more for her recovery of cancer. So when I got to Utah, I didn't talk to my sisters for a while. I was just by myself. I met a lady there, and I had my first son, and that turned into, me being abusive and me mentally and physically being abusive to her, and she ended up leaving because of the abuse, and I lost contact with her and my son, and that's when, it didn't get worse. It kind of stayed the same to where I was still getting high every day and not having a job, not having any kind of income, bouncing back and forth from house to house, losing contact with my cousin that I moved there with because of the drugs. So I was in another state, basically by myself. She was still there for me, but she really didn't want anything to do with the drugs or people doing drugs because she was an ex-addict herself. Like I said, I got out of control, would be drinking and doing hard drugs for a while, and it led to a night to where I got into a vehicle and I was driving and I was drunk, and I hit 3 cars on the way out of the parking lot. And after I hit the 3 cars, I deliberately ran into my cousin's car over and over. And my son was in the back seat. My firstborn was in the back seat with the mother. And that same night, I left from Utah to Tennessee. When I got to Tennessee, the drugs stopped because I didn't know anybody out there. Really couldn't get a hold of anything because I didn't know anybody. No connections, none of that. Still smoked marijuana and drank, but the hard drugs was gone. And I lived in Tennessee for about maybe 3 years, 4 years. And I ended up leaving Tennessee to move back to California. And I noticed, like, almost instantly when I got back to California, the drugs started again. And once again, I got abusive, got mentally and physically. An incident happened one night, and my ex ended up calling the cops on me. I went to jail for about a month for assault. well, it was corporal spousal abuse, and she left and went back to Utah. The last time I've been trying to get sober since 2016, and I've been wanting to get sober. I've been telling, even when I was using, I was like, man, I don't want this no more. I want to get sober. And nothing never seemed to work. Like, I was always get clean for a couple months. I even got clean for a year. And life on life terms happened. Something happened to where I got kicked out of my old Oxford house. And my wife that I married when I got here, she wanted a divorce. She didn't want to be with me no more. I lost my 4 kids again. I have four kids here. I got 3 girls and 1 boy, ages 7, 6, and 3. The 3-year-olds are twins. And even when they got taken out of my home, I was still wanting to use. Every time I went to go see them to get a visit, after I left that visit, I would go instantly and get some drugs and do drugs to forget. And I love my kids more than anything in this world and would do anything for them. But when that drug and that your addiction has got a hold of you, even if you say you want to get clean, it's not easy to let go. And you have, like I said before, you have to want it for yourself. You have to want to get rid of everything and everybody that has been hindering you and holding you back, because if you don't, you're still trying to set up that reservation by having them still in your life. You know, well, when I get off of probation, I can smoke weed. If I get off of probation, I can go back and drink. If I get off of probation, I can, all this. Well, when I do this, I can do this. And that's not a good thing to have, especially when you're trying to get sober. Well, I've learned this time around. You got to get rid of all your reservations, and you have to want it for yourself and willing to be put in that work to get sober and actually listening to people and taking constructive criticism. Because a gentleman that, when I went through treatment this last time, he was my pivotal moment this time around in treatment. He told me his story. He told me where he's been at, what he used to do, what he used to be like, and where he's at now and what he's doing now. And he's a single father of his kids. He got his kids back. He put in the work. And I asked him, I said, well, what is it that I got to do to be like you, to follow your footsteps and do what you do? And pardon my language, he said, shut the fuck up and listen. And that's one thing that's stuck with me this last 5 months is this, when everybody tries to talk to me, Jeremy, just shut the fuck up and listen. And I've been taking everybody's advice and everybody's criticism and constructive criticism at that. And I wasn't one to do that before. You give me constructive criticism. I thought you were talking crap and you wanted to fight me or you had a problem with me or what I was doing. And, I wasn't ready to hear all that. This time, what's different this time is that I've added Jesus Christ and my God. I go to church. I haven't been to church. I haven't missed a day of church since I've been out February 22nd. I got an awesome support team. I got baptized this last Sunday, and there was over 24 people that showed up to my baptism. And I took the picture. I wanted a picture before everybody left, and I didn't think nothing of it until I was actually sitting at home thinking about it, looking through my pictures. I was like, man, like all these people are sober, and they're here to support me. And I help them I help Street Team Ministry. I help Kaylee's Dad is Mad. I help out my church. Whenever there's something that I can do to help out the community or give back to the community by feeding the homeless or passing out Narcan or whatever that, Nalox, yeah. Or just anything that I can do to be of service and to the community, because I was there 5 months ago. And the other day I went to AA an AA group, and there was a gentleman outside that one of my buddy Larry, he asked if we could take him. Well, he kind of volunteered me to take this guy to the hospital to get medically cleared to go to Vallejo. And instantly I was like, dude, I don't want to do this. Like, why would you volunteer me to do something like this? I'm here for a meeting. So, but I agreed to it. And as I got closer to the hospital, like I got this feeling of, dude, you're a piece of shit. Like, here's this guy is asking you for help to get cleared to go to Vallejo to get started on his recovery, and you were bitching about it, saying you didn't want to take him. Like, you were there 5-6 months ago when nobody was there to help you get clean or get sober. So I definitely knows what it feels like to have nobody or nothing in your life, and nobody wants to help you, or feel in love, nobody's there, or, that you're bugging people when you ask people for help. And I apologized to him for it. And we prayed with him that day when he got out of the car to go into the hospital. And he just called me on the way over here, thanking me. And he's still in Vallejo. He's thanking me, calling me, thanking me for giving him a ride, because it started him on his path to recovery. And that did something to me and to my recovery, because my first instinct was like, I didn't want to do it. But it says it in our ratings that somebody asks you for help, go help them. And I just got, like I was supposed to be a man of God and, praying to my God. And would my God do this? Would he say no? Would he be bitching about it? No, he would help them. And that's this one thing that I've learned the last couple of days, even today when I was on the way here, that I definitely need to take a step back and start thinking about other people. And when they ask me for help, my first reaction shouldn't be no. It should be from the heart, deep down, yes, I will help you. Just make sure that you want it, and that you're gonna get out whatever you put into it. You're gonna have to work, because if you're not willing to put in any work, or if you're not ready to separate yourself from other people, and don't get me wrong, I don't like being alone at all, but I've come to find out that if they're your friends, they're gonna respect your sobriety. And joined it's called a Parent Advisory Committee through Kansas Children's Service League that is just started in Topeka. We don't even know what we're doing yet, but we meet once a month. I finished 2 fathers classes, finished my outpatient, got a car, been having my job for 4 months now. It's amazing. I've accomplished so much in the last 5-6 months than I've ever had in my whole recovery. And people can see that, it took me a while to see my own growth, but other people are definitely noticing it and seeing it. And hopefully in October, I will get my 4 kids back. So if you're starting this on your first time, or even your second, your third, your fourth, it doesn't matter how many times you try to get sober. It will definitely stick if you do this for yourself, and you have to want it. Like, you have to want it and willing to put in the work. Like, if you put enough effort into it as you would getting a bag or getting high or getting drugs, you will definitely succeed. Put God first. Pray. I know a lot of people say put your recovery first, but I found out personally that ain't the way it is. You put God first, your recovery, then you can decide what comes after that. But if you don't have God, when I didn't have God, I didn't have my recovery. I didn't. And I wasn't one 5-6 months ago to say God, Jesus Christ, or pray, or none of that. but it's actually working for me this time. And like, I've been showed numerous of times when I pray, I've been praying about certain things, and my God speaks to me in certain ways, and my prayers have been basically being answered by Bible verses in my Bible, and me opening up my Bible, and first thing I see is what I'm asking God, or what there is in that Bible or in that verse that has to deal with what I'm asking Him, and it's amazing. I mean, yes, it is.